Here are 10 life lessons that will fix many of the problems inside of your life. So here's the first one. There is nothing more anxiety inducing than I want to do better, but I don't know what at and I don't know how to do it. People often comment under my video things such as, where do I start? How do I start this? How do I start that? I want to improve my life. I want to do self-growth. But the problem that I notice is I'll notice someone comment that under a communication video, how to be a better communicator. Then they'll comment that on a mindset video. Then they'll comment that on a uh, self-improvement, build a better relationship with yourself. Then they'll comment it on a confidence video. The problem is not that they want to do better. The problem is that they want to be better at everything, and that is physically impossible. If you do the math, on average, we have about 80 summers. So I want you to subtract the age you are from 80, and that's on average. That's how much time you have left. In order to become a master at something, in order to become great at something, it's going to take more than 1 year. It's going to take more than 2 years. It's going to take an accumulative amount of time of you focusing on something to become great. I say that to say, in your lifetime, you possibly can become great at 3 to 5 things, give or take. So the problem is when we are in our self-growth journey, we see all these things. Oh, this person's good at communicating. Oh, this person has great self-love. Oh, this person wrote a book. Oh, this person is an actress. Oh, this person. And we get this idea that we can become all of those things. And I'm telling you now, you can't. I'm not telling you that you can't become great. I'm telling you that you can't become great at everything. And think of some of the people who you look at as being great. Think of some of the biggest actresses. Think of some of the biggest, musicians. Think of the Drakes, the Taylor Swifts. These individuals have been doing this for over 10 years. This is not something that just, and then think about how much time it took them to become considered great. It took them to get to the height of their career. At least 10 years. So I want you to understand you're not going to be great at everything. So you have to sit down with yourself and decide, what are some of the things I want to be great at? But where do I want to start? So don't even think about the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things you could possibly be great at. Where do you want to start? Where do you feel like it will push the needle more in your life? I want to be a better communicator. I want to start a business. I want to do better self-growth. As long as you keep trying to have all these ideas in your mind, because the problem is also you'll have one idea, but then you'll see this girl say on social media, she made all this money doing this. And you're like, oh, well, maybe I can do that too. And you see another girl a week later say she made $1 million doing this. And you're like, well, that's not too hard. I think I can do that. And you're giving yourself anxiety because your brain knows it can't learn all these things, retain all these things. So what does it do? It shuts down. It makes you have anxiety over these things and feel like you can't do nothing because your brain is like, you're doing too much. Slow down, girl. You're doing too much. We can't do all this. And so since I can't physically force you to stop doing all this stuff, I'm going to give you anxiety. I'm going to make you feel so flustered and frustrated and so confused about all these things that you don't know what to do. So if you want to become better at anything, you have to know what at and how to do it. Give yourself a step-by-step. Listen, this month I'm going to learn this. This week I'm going to learn that. You can't sit here with yourself and convince yourself that you're going to become great at everything. But then I don't think that you also can use the excuse that you don't have the time, that you don't have the energy, that you don't, because you do. You just don't have it for everything. So you need to become specific. Figure out what's good for you. There's people are always going to write books. You don't have to be an author if you don't want to. Just because you read a good book don't mean nothing. People are always going to create content at this point. You don't have to create content just because you see people doing it. There's always going to be doctors. You don't have to do it because your family wants you to do it. You get what I'm saying? Like, allow yourself to focus on it because you only have a short time period. You don't have that long. So allow yourself during that time period to get better at what you want to get better at instead of trying to bring everything in. Focus on you because that's the only way you're actually going to grow and actually make a change in your life. The second one. Distance yourself from people you don't want to become. I think we've all heard a quote similar to like you are your 5 closest friends. And I do agree with that quote to a certain extent, but I also think of it, distance yourself as a whole. Like I'm very big on, and I talked about it in a video, even before I moved to the town that I moved to now, I was already over here. I feel like I attracted the place where I live now. I was already going to the bookstore over here. I was already going to the grocery store over here. And I didn't even know this apartment was over here. Because long story short, I used to come the opposite direction. And it just so happened that this is where I ended up. And this is where I wanted to end up. The idea is I distance myself, even though I wasn't living in a neighborhood like this, even though I wasn't living around people like this, I distance myself from them much as possible. I could have went to the bookstore which was closer to me. I didn't do that. I could have went to the grocery store, whatever that was closer to me. I didn't do that. I wanted to be around people who I wanted to be a reflection like. Because yes, it is your friends. And I think also you do have to take responsibility for that. Because a lot of times too, people stay in friendships and they stay in things that's no longer providing anything for them anymore. Simply because, oh, we went to school together. Or, oh, I've known her for so long. We feel like we need a reason to stop talking to people. Your reason is you don't want to be like them. I don't like how that person carries themselves. I don't like how that person treats themselves. And I don't want to carry myself like that and treat myself like that. And you know what? You will. Because when you come to them and vent to them about your problems and what you're going through, they're going to make you think you being complacent is okay. They're going to make you think, girl, you going through something? Let's go out for drinks. You kind of like, I don't really want to, like, I kind of want to figure out the problem. And then you notice every single time you tell her something, you never get to the bottom of the problem. Every time you tell her something, she's always feeding in the bad stuff. And you kind of like, I don't really want to be like this. Oh, well, you have to, because you want to stay around that person and you're a reflection of that person, because that's what they do. But going back to the people who you're around just in general, right? Think about this. If you go to a grocery store and they wear, pajamas in a grocery store and all this other stuff and they don't care how they look, one day when you're rushing and you don't have time to get changed, you're like, all right, really quick, I'm gonna put on my pajamas, leave my pajamas, go to the grocery store. I just gotta grab this real fast, da da da. In your mind, you're telling yourself, the only reason I'm doing this is because I'm in a rush, is because I don't have time. No, you're doing it because everyone else does it and you're a reflection of them. Because if you shop at grocery stores or places where they don't allow that, where they don't do that, you wouldn't do it. Because you would either tell yourself, listen, I need to hurry up and get dressed, or I need to go later. But me going in there looking like that, it's not going to happen. So I want you to understand, it's not just your friends. As much as you can, separate yourself from an environment that you do not want to be like. Because I promise you, you are going to become a reflection of them. You're going to drive similar cars to them. You're going to make similar money to them. Because they're your community, whether you realize it or not. And in order to be a part of a community, you have to have similarities. So that's why it's so hard for you to go hard and make more money. It's not necessarily because of anything else, but you hang around people that only make a certain amount of money. You live in a neighborhood that only makes a certain amount of money, and you stay there. You breathe there. As I tell people all the time, as much as you can, go out, see more, experience more, so you know in your heart there's more. Because a lot of people, they don't know there's more. Your brain literally cannot conceptualize besides TV and social media, but that's not real. Your brain doesn't really know that there's more. You convince yourself because you watch self-help, self-growth videos. Oh, there's more, there's more. And your brain is like, yeah, those people on the TV, those people we can't touch, we can't see, we can't. Go outside, experience life, and train your brain to see there's more, and make yourself closer proximity to the people that you want to be like a reflection of. The next one. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And this one definitely goes into the procrastination. This one definitely goes into the I'm not ready. When are you going to be ready? You're never going to be ready. Because what is going to change between now and then? Nothing. Like nothing is going to change for you. A lot of people have this mindset of, oh, once this happens and once that happens, I'll be ready to start. No, you're probably not starting because you're scared. You're probably not starting because you're not really ever going to start. And when I say start things, I also don't want people to think just because you say you want to start something, I want to start a business. It does not mean you literally have to buy the LLC next week. You have to come up with a business plan. You have to, okay, well, let's do some research in the market. Let's see if there's a gap in the market. Let's see if, people are doing things that I can do similar to, but put my own spin on. Or I want to go back to school. That does not mean that you have to sign up for school next week, but do you know what you want to go to school for? Have you looked at schools? Have you compared prices? Like starting to get yourself used to that thing, starting to get yourself similar to around that thing is how you're going to start. But everybody wants to be great at something, but you have this mindset that great people started out great. I always say this, go to one of your favorite artists and listen to one of their first songs. It usually is not that great. You probably don't even know about it. And I highly doubt you will like it. Like, there's this idea that one day you're going to wait. No, you become great brick by brick. See, a lot of times we see people already standing on top of the platforms. We see them standing on top of the bridges. And we're like, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to get up that high? How am I ever going to be that great? You build brick by brick by brick, just like they did. See, the problem is we assume that everybody owes us to tell us how they built every single brick and when they started their bricks and when they, a lot of the lower bricks you don't see. It's similar to a bridge, right? You only see what's above water. You know, under a bridge, there's a whole bunch of things supporting it in the water we never see. That's a lot of people's careers, their lives. Now we see the above part of the bridge. And so in our minds, we look at it as, how is that possible? How did they build above the water? They didn't build above the water. They built below it. It's just nobody saw that moment. And there's a benefit to that as well. I always tell people the great part about that is you could mess up, you could fumble, you could start over, you could repeat, and nobody will see it because it's under the water. So at least take this time. Yes, I always tell people the beginning is the best part because you can do so many things. You can have so many mess up and nobody's going to know. Like me, I have 30,000 followers right now. I appreciate y'all a whole bunch, but I'm still learning so many things. And during this process, I've made a few mistakes and I made a few things happen, but I really don't feel bad about it because I'm like, when I get to 1 million followers, nobody's going to even remember this video probably, because this is me still building under the water. So this is when I could make my mistakes. This is when and not purposely, but my growing pains. So when I do get to that 1 million followers, when I do get to, you get what I'm saying, being back a full-time content creator, everything, all my ducks gonna be in a row. Everything gonna be aligned. The content gonna be crisp, clean. Everything's gonna be good. But until I get to that point, I'm going to work towards it. And I'm going to acknowledge that right now I'm not great. But I'm not going to not start because I'm not great. Because even now, my videos look better than they did when I first came out. But if I would have waited until my videos look like this now, when I first came out, I would have never started. So I want you to understand, you do not have to start to be great, but you have to start to become great. So to start, you don't have to be great, but in order to become great, you have to start somewhere. The next one. Mediocrity doesn't just happen, it's chosen over time through small choices day by day. Mediocrity doesn't just happen. So to be mediocre is to be below average, it's to be not up to par, right? Nobody wants to be called mediocre. You don't want nobody to say, oh, you talk mediocre, or you look mediocre. It's like, that's that shade. A lot of people live mediocre lives. They live lives they're not happy with, lives they're not proud of, lives they're not. And if you want to know if you live a mediocre life, and this is no judgment, I'm being completely honest with y'all. Look outside of your window of where you live, check your bank account, and think about where you work. And I want you to ask yourself, is that mediocre? Is it below average? Is it? And the reason why I want you to do that, and if this is your first time watching my videos, y'all, I do sometimes come across a little aggressive, but it's tough love. Because I want you to be honest with yourself. And I want you to realize that didn't happen with one choice. That didn't happen with two choices. That happened over time. Over time, you made mediocre decisions, which led to a lot of times a mediocre life. And it's so easy to blame outside forces. Oh, well, I grew up in this neighborhood. You still made that choice. Yes, you can have all these reasons why you did what you did, but you still made that choice. A great example of this is, and she gonna be mad if she sees this, I don't care, but one of my little sisters recently turned 18, and the reason why I'm saying this, if she sees this, you should have never hung up the phone on me when I was trying to be honest with you. That's your fault. But my little sister, one of my little sisters, she just turned 18, and she's supposed to, she still lives at home, and I called her. I was like, oh, because she told me she wanted to start hair school. So I'm like, oh, so what's going on with hair school? How's that going? Blah, blah, blah. She says to me, oh, well, I don't really want to start hair school right now. I'm going to wait until I get a job. You're 18 years old. You barely have a resume. I'm like, listen, don't get me wrong. I get it. You want to have some of your own money. But, start start school. Like when you get a job, that's going to be fine. But, right now, focus on school. And she's still looking for jobs. Fine. She said to the extent of, oh, well, I don't really know if I want to start school right now because I want to get a job. And if I start school, I'm going to have to be working night shifts and all this other stuff. First and foremost, no, you don't. You adjust it around your schedule. But second of all, you're choosing the mediocre way. You're choosing the easy way. I said, everybody in college does this. You're not special. Everybody in college goes to college and works a job for the most part. And then, what a lot of people do in the real world? Work 2 to 3 jobs. So you're complaining while you still live at home, while you still have no real responsibility because you don't want to do it. What are you doing? You're making mediocre choices. And that leads to a mediocre life. And those are the same people who say stuff such as, oh yeah, I don't feel like cooking tonight. I'm going to just go to McDonald's. Oh, I don't feel like. Those little you don't feel likes add up and make you who you are. So I tell people all the time, the reason why you have a mediocre life is because you keep making mediocre choices. You don't want to work hard. You don't want to do the hard thing. You don't want to live a life where it's not comfortable for you, only to lead to a life that's not comfortable for you. And if she sees this, I ain't say your name, and you should never hung up on me when I was trying to tell you what to do. Hopefully this video will help you understand why you shouldn't make that choice and you need to start school. Anyways, I want people to understand you do not, like I said, you don't wake up and be mediocre. It's an accumulative of choices. Your bank account right now is a cumulative of all the choices you've made over the years. Where you live is a cumulative. A lot of times we can convince ourselves it's because outside of situations, but you made those choices. You gave yourself the reason you made those choices because of where you're from, your parents, your background, what people told you. But I want you to understand those were all your choices. Because once you understand that those were your choices, you see that you didn't have to do that. You chose to do that. So that also means you can choose to do something different. Don't get the mindset and the idea that just because you're in this point right now, even if you look at your bank account and you're like, yeah, I ain't got nothing in there. I barely got nothing today. But if you don't want to feel like this next year or the year after, make different choices that are not mediocre. Make the hard choices. Make choices that you are proud of. Because right now, you're not proud of where you live. You're not proud of your bank account. You're not proud of your job. And that's okay in this moment that you realize that. But that's not okay if you are in the same position, if not worse, next year and the year after and the year after. Because that was all your choice. So don't blame nobody else. Nothing else but you. The next one. If you spend time chasing butterflies, they'll fly away. But if you spend time making a beautiful garden, the butterflies will come. Don't chase, attract. So if you spend time chasing butterflies, right, you got to chase them. Eventually, they're going to fly away. But if you build a garden and it's beautiful, they're going to come to you. I had to learn that with so many things in life, especially more so recently with money, but even in relationships and things like that, because it's so easy to chase something, right? More so the idea of something. And I did this a lot, talked about a lot on my channel of my whole crazy career experience. But I was chasing money for so long, right? They say do this to make money, I'm doing it. They say do that to make money, I'm doing it. And the bittersweet thing was, for me, it was working. Like I was doing a lot of stuff that people were saying to do on social media to make money, and I was making money. But the problem I didn't see was I was chasing. I didn't build a garden in which the money would come to me. And a lot of people do that in relationships. They do that when it comes to money. They do that with a lot of different things. Like even think about it for women when it comes to men. What woman do you think men are going to want more? The woman that comes in confident. That woman is not even really paying attention to him. The woman that knows she look good. Or the woman that soon as she come in, she eyeing the room looking for a man. She's staring at this man. She showing that she's not confident. He might pick her, but probably for a short time, not a long time. But that woman that built that garden, she built that confidence. She built an environment to attract men, whether it was on purpose or not. But she built herself up so much that other people just are attracted to her. Other people can feel that she's confident, that she knows her worth, so they treat her as such. And so I want you to understand in life, you have to build up your worth, essentially. You have to build your garden. And it honestly goes back to the last quote talking about mediocrity, because even talking, I was recently telling someone about making money in America. The number one way to make more money is to build more value. The more valuable you are, the more money that you will make. I talk about this all the time. That's why lawyers make more money than McDonald's workers, because anybody can become a McDonald's worker. It's not that valuable. But a lot of people can't become a lawyer. Why? Because there's a lot of steps that go into it. There's a lot of things you have to learn, which means there's a lot of people that get knocked off on the way up. And that's how it is. So at the end of the day, a lawyer can always get a job. People are always going to need a lawyer. What did they do? They built that garden. But if you're always working minimum wage jobs, if you're always working a job that somebody who 18 can work and you 45 working this job, or you 35 working this job, it's going to be so easy to get rid of you. So you're always going to be chasing butterflies. And I tell people all the time, if you want to make yourself valuable, if you want to attract anything in life, you have to build an environment for yourself in which that thing is going to come to you. You have to become so good at that thing that you are valuable in that thing. And that comes with relationships, and that comes with money, and that comes with experience, like anything you want in life. Even now with my channel, I'm trying to make myself so valuable with the content that I share, with the information that I learn, that people are always like, dang, it's Wednesday. Shamaya posted. Let me see Shamaya. It's Sunday. Shamaya posted. It's Friday. Shamaya. You think of me because I want to create that environment. I don't want to always chase. Right now I'm in my chasing point, right? I'm chasing followers. I'm to a certain, actually, I wouldn't really say I'm in my chasing point. I would say I'm in my building point. I said that wrong. In the beginning, I was in my chasing point. I used to create kind of like random content just to get followers. And sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't, but there wasn't any real trajectory on it. It wasn't really a real solid, this is what I do. And now I'm in my building my garden. And now, since doing that, my videos have done a lot better consistently. Before it was more sporadic. This video do good, another video would do good for a month. This video do good, another one not for a month. But since I've been building the garden, it's been consistent. And so you have to, whatever you're doing, stop chasing that viral moment. Stop chasing that money. It's going to take longer. I'm going to be honest, that when you don't chase, it takes longer because it's so easy to just catch a butterfly. But you're going to have to do that for the rest of your life. So do not chase the track, build. The next one, if you're flexible with your boundaries, people will be flexible with how they treat you. This is a big one I had to learn, and especially for when you're younger. Do not allow individuals to treat you any way you don't want to be treated. And you have to understand, by that time that person disrespected you, made you mad, broke your heart, that was not the first time. People don't break your heart once. They break your heart over a cumulative, I don't know why today I can't say stuff, a cumulative amount of time, and then eventually it breaks. A lot of people think of a broken heart similar to a glass plate. I actually think about it similar to a paper plate, because a glass plate, you just break it once and it's broken. But a paper plate, if I keep throwing you on the ground, you might get a little dusty, but for the most part, you're the same. Our hearts are like paper. People rip them over time. And then what happens is, once that person finally does that thing or says that thing, you burst. But the thing is, if you really paid attention, they've been doing that over time. There's never been a time period in my life where someone has hurt me, where someone has made me frustrated. I felt like I was disrespected, and it was the first time they did it. The difference is, it was the first time I actually acknowledged it for myself. And now I'm at a point in my life, and this is hard being someone that comes out of a people-pleasing kind of mindset, but I've had to learn, if I feel disrespected, first and foremost, to me, it's disrespect. Don't let people make you think it's not that serious. It's not, oh, not to you, but to me it is. I was born differently than you. I grew up differently than you. I have different parents than you. My perception is my reality. I'm not going to let you tint that. So I had to learn, when people say little, it comes in the smallest ways too. It's not going to come straight in your face. It's going to come when somebody's mad at you and you're like, oh, I let them say that because they was mad. It's going to come when people say they joking with you and they laugh and they say little slick stuff. It's going to come when people make it seem like, oh, I'm sorry I didn't. That's when it comes. Pay attention to those and check it in the moment. Don't wait. Don't listen, especially the mad one. I don't care what happen. You're not going to disrespect me because you're mad, because that's still you. Like, we think when people have a certain emotion, that's a different form of that's not, I don't even know that person. You do. That's still them. So don't act like, you know what I'm saying? Don't listen. If you're flexible with them boundaries, you let people talk to you anyway, do anything to you, and it's not even necessarily always speaking to you. They could just make you feel uncomfortable. They do things that it's just like, why would you do this? Why would you do that? You need to have boundaries around those things. You need to create a level of self-respect, self-love for yourself that's so high that you are not going to allow anybody to kind of sway, because people do it real slick. They bend it really, really, really small. It'd be little things, and then by the time you bent out of shape, you think you blaming them, but partially it's you, because you've let them do it over time, that they just become so used to it that now they're looking at you like, wait, I can't disrespect you? Wait, I can't talk to you that way? Wait, I can't treat you like that? Wait, I can't come and pick you up 2 hours late from work? What? I always pick you up late. I always in your car. I always, you know what I'm saying, do these things to you. It happens over time, but don't let yourself think this is the first time it happened, because it don't. It's not. The next one. There is no good or bad. There just is. I had to learn this one because I think a lot of times too, when things happen to us, we get so frustrated, like, oh, this is so good and this is so bad. Or a lot of times the world is not thinking about us. The world is just revolving. We just so happen to be in it, so we're affected by it. A great story, this proverb, is of this farmer, right? So this farmer has a horse. His horse runs away. All his local farmers come and are like, oh, we're so sorry. I know it's so bad that the horse, ran away. And he was like, it just is. Not good, it's not bad. Next day, the horse comes back with 7 more horses. Now everybody's like, oh my gosh, that's so great. It came back with 7 more horses. You must be so happy. He said, it just is. 2 days later, his son tries to tame some of the wild horses, ends up breaking his leg. All his friends come around. Oh, you must be so sad because your son broke his leg. It just is. The next day, the local army comes by and they're like, we need all the boys to go to war. Every boy has to go to war. The son doesn't have to go because his leg is broken. They can't use him. Everybody's like, you're so lucky. Your son doesn't have to go to war because his leg is broken. It just is. Because if you see, it was a seesaw of emotions. If he allowed himself to be overly affected by these things, that he would have been on a roller coaster of emotions. And I'm not saying that you have to be that stoic and you have to be that, I don't care. But at the same time, you have to realize that girl that cut you off on your way to work does not care about you. She did not look and say, ooh, that silver Nissan, I'm gonna cut her off. No, she probably was on her way to work too, and she was late and she didn't even see the exit, and I had to realize, stop giving away that energy. Because now on your way to work, oh, she cut me off. Oh, that girl. Oh, she did this. Nobody cares about you that much. Like, seriously, I had to learn in life, things just are what they are. Stop letting yourself get so frustrated. Recently, long story short, I messed up my tire to the point where I had to get my car towed, and then I had to pay for like a new alignment and to get a new car put on. In the beginning, I was frustrated, right? The first couple hours, I was like, oh, wow. And then after like 2 hours, I'm like, you know what? It just happened. Like, what is me getting so frustrated over this thing going to do? If anything, I'm more frustrated that I'm in a position financially that this affects me that much. Like, I wish I was in a position financially where I'm like, okay, whatever, get that fixed. But I'm kind of like, let me look at my bank account. But it just is. That curb, that little, median, whatever, was always there. It just so happened I couldn't see it because it was dark. But nonetheless, nobody put it there like, oh yeah, Shamaya gonna drive over this one night. She ain't gonna be able to see it. She gonna mess up her car. So stop thinking life is like that. A lot of things in life, if you pay attention, they're not good. They're not bad. They just are. Like, it's just a part of life. Like, you over here saying, oh my God, it rained today. Today was the day of my birthday. It's this person over here that got a farm and they've been wishing that it rained because they farm drying up. So does that make the rain good or bad? It's not. It just is. But that's what a lot of things. And so in life, when you're making choices, I want you to think it just is. Stop trying to figure out what's the best choice. It just is. Like, if you look at life like that, you see there's really no good choice or bad choice. It just puts you in different directions, but it just is. And it just always will be. The next one. Your life is dictated by the quality of your emotions. It's not about outside factors. So going off what I said, the quality of your life, well, the last quote, it just is what it is. A lot of people think I have a good life if I'm making money. I have a good life if I can travel. I have a good life. But a lot of what we've seen it, especially on social media, there's so many celebrities that come out who are depressed, who are sad. But it's like, you are making all of this money. We hear of millionaires and billionaires taking their lives. And it's like, but I thought that's what we all were chasing, the American dream. I thought that's what everybody wanted. And one thing I've learned is, especially this year, the quality of your life, to have a good life or not a good life, is not depicted or is not dependent on a lot of times what you have. It's the quality of your emotions. If you can be content, you can be happy, you can have joy no matter what stage you are in your life. And I'm not saying you shouldn't want to get more or strive to get more, but even in that process, usually especially in that process, if you can have good emotions, you usually have a good life. And I've noticed that about myself. For the first time in my life, I can say I have a good quality life because I've been so strong on dictating my emotions. I go back to looking at things just as what they are, but also I don't allow things to trigger me. I don't put myself in positions knowing certain things are going to trigger me and then expecting myself not to get triggered, which means I don't go to certain places, I don't hang around certain people, but also I do things and I look at things with more of a joy in life. Like I'm one person, and I brought up the car thing because that happens a lot, and I notice every time I'm in a car with somebody and somebody cut them off or something like that, they always get so mad. I never was a person to get mad at stuff like that, because there's been times where I've accidentally cut somebody off and it's like, oh, I'm sorry. They can't hear you. And they probably mad. They kind of frustrated. You get what I'm saying? So kind of a random analogy, but I say all that to say I've been looking at life like that. Like, it's just happening. And so my quality of my life is how I feel about these things and allow myself to feel. It doesn't matter what I'm going through. If I allow myself to constantly feel sad, I'm going to have a bad quality life. So it doesn't matter how much money in my bank account. It doesn't matter who's doing this and who's doing that. The quality of my life is based upon how I feel. And things are always going to happen. People are always going to die. Money is always going to be lost, but money equally is always going to be gained. And people are always going to be born that I love. So at the same time, I can't allow my emotions to be so swayed. So I've been really focusing on controlling my emotions and understanding, well, why do you feel this way? Getting to the root of it. Because a lot of times too, we don't understand the reason why you're so frustrated at that girl at your job, the reason why you're so frustrated at this thing and that thing. It's not because of that particular person. It's because you're going through something. I realized for me, the root of it was that I was 1 month making all this money, next month not making money, my emotions were so swayed that it was so easy for other things to bother me. So then when I got to the root of it, I need stability. I need to go back to a 9 to 5. I need to, ever since I've started my job, and I promise y'all, I don't have the best job in the world. I work at a call center. But I have now a stable income. I have now knowing that I don't have to worry about bills. I don't have to worry. I can create content and enjoy it and not be focused on how much money I'm making, how many views a video got. For the first time, I'm learning to be happy and have appreciation and joy. And I did not have that. But I didn't know why, because I didn't get to the roots of it and many other things. But I think a lot of times you have to ask yourself, but why is this thing triggering me so much? Why is this thing bothering me so much? Because the quality of your life will always be bad until you figure out the root of why you express yourself the way you do, why you get so mad, why you get so frustrated, and you dig up that root. You have to do something about it too. You can't just acknowledge it. Because for a while I acknowledged it, but I didn't do nothing about it. And my life did not get better until I finally did something about it. Is what I'm doing right now getting me closer to or farther from my goals? So this kind of does go back into there's no good and there's no bad. There just is. I've realized, as I said before, when you make choices, they just put you in a direction. There is no good, there is no bad choice. You want to go to college, you don't want to go to college. You want to start the business, you don't want to start the business. We convince ourselves, and it often causes us to procrastinate and think things over way too much, is because we are just like, okay, but what is going to happen? What is going to be the end result? And I'm here to tell you, even if you do think of 1,000 plan analysis of what's going to happen with it, all you're doing is wasting time, because that's never promised to you. Like, we try to do our best to create a life in which we can think of the next plan and put ourselves in the direction of the next area, but you can't specifically say what's going to happen. There were people who thought of entire business plans, probably, been doing this for years, put millions of dollars into businesses to open stores in 2020, and they lost all of that money. Why? Because everything was shut down. Did they think that that was going to happen? No, they did all the right things society told them to do. Think of a business, have investors. So many businesses that happened to. And so I want you to think about life like that. It's good to try to prepare yourself, but certain things you can't prepare yourself for. So what is the point of dwelling on all of these things? And ask yourself with every choice you make, instead of trying to figure out, should I do this? Should I not do this? I always ask myself, is this getting me closer or farther away from my goals? And it's not just with goal oriented things and with good habits. It's with everything you do, with what you eat, with where you shop, with who you talk to. Is this getting me closer or farther away from my goals? A big reason, starting with the beginning, with the first thing I said, starting with the anxiety, not knowing how to get better, is because a lot of people don't have goals. Why? Because it goes back to the anxiety. You want to do too many things that you end up doing nothing at all. So you really have no goals. So when you ask yourself, is this getting me closer or farther away from my goals? The answer is, I don't know. And that's the root of the problem. You don't know what direction you want your life to go in. And you don't know the direction because you're thinking too hard about it. You're thinking, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? It's a thing. And that's what I had to do with myself. I don't know exactly how this channel is going to end up. I don't even know exactly how my life is going to end up next year. But I'm doing my best now to put myself in a position closer to the life that I want to live, at least in the same group of the life that I want to live. Because a lot of times people don't know you've been going the other direction for so long that now you look around and you're like, I don't know goals, I don't know this, I don't know that. Oh, because you made a lot of choices that push you in the other direction. But as I said before, that also the benefit of that is that you can make more other choices to put you in a different direction. Now, if you've been going this way for a long time, it might take you a little bit longer, but acknowledge that. Like, that's just what your life is. It doesn't make it good, it doesn't make it bad. It's just what it is. And so I say all that to say that's something I've been thinking about a lot this year. When I do anything, is this getting me closer or farther away from my goals? Because I noticed a lot of time, like I said, I thought about things too hard and I wanted everything to be perfect. And, oh, I don't want to start this if it's not perfect. I don't want to do this. No. Is this thing getting me closer or farther away to my goals? It cuts so much time, so much procrastination, so much overthinking. Yes, no. Okay. And then we're going to go from there. We're going to move from there. But stop with the whole pity party. Stop with the whole, I don't know. If you want to do this thing, ask yourself. Because another thing I've also noticed too, a lot of times too, people do good things and they don't get the results they want and they're confused, right? If I was to tell you two girls went to college, they got their master's degree, right? A lot of people would say that's good, right? But I was to say one of them messed up her life. People would say, how did she mess up her life if she got a master's degree and she did it? Let's say she only got that degree because her parents wanted her to do it. She really, random, wanted to go to the military. Her parents didn't want her to go to the military. They wanted her to become a lawyer. Looking at it from the outside in, she got her master's degree. Now she's making $100,000 a year, all this other stuff. Everybody's looking at it like, that's a good life, right? But she doesn't have a good life because the choice that she made got her farther away from her goal. And so a lot of times too, we make these good choices because society tells us to make them and people tell us to make them. It's your life. You're going to do it or you're not. And if you want to ask yourself if you're going to do something, want to think about it, think about your goals. It doesn't matter how good this thing seems in a time period. It don't matter how much money people could say you're gonna make, how much traveling you're gonna do, all these good things. Don't evaluate your life based upon that. Because now you're evaluating your life based upon what other people want to do with their life and dreams and aspirations they have for themselves. Ask yourself, is this thing getting me closer or farther away from my goal? Because that girl who did the same amount of college, paid the same amount of money, she got closer to her goal. She got her dream job. But y'all did the same thing. But why is she always happy? Why am I not happy? I did what everybody told me to do. Because every choice you made got you farther and farther away from your goals and the life that you truly wanted, no matter how good it was or it looked to the outside world. And the final thing I want to end it on is, you're right. A lot of things that I said possibly in this video or even on my channel, people will watch these videos. People even commented and will tell me their whole life story of why they can't do something, right? I'll make a video about how to be more productive. Oh, I can't do this because I work 2 jobs and I got a kid. Oh, I can't do this because this happened to me and that happened to me. There's even some people who watch this video and a few things I said, they're like, oh, I can't because you're right. Since you wanted to hear it so badly, you're right. You're right. The reason why it was so easy for me to create a channel is because the parents that I come from and the place that I came from. You're right. The reason why it was so easy for me to get this apartment is because I was a content creator. You're right. You're right. How does that feel? Because a lot of times we create this thing in our head and these stories in our head of like, oh, the reason why I can't do this and this person could do that and this person could do that is because they had it so much easier. They had this, they had that, they did this. It was easy. You're right. That is why they did it. Oh, this girl was so pretty. That's why it's so easy for her to grow social media. You're right. What are you going to do with that information? I think a lot of people need to hear that. I think out of everything I said, I think that's one of the most life-changing quotes. 2 words. You're right. 3 if we break it up. You are right. You're right. You're never going to be able to make more money because you don't have the time to learn skills or go back to school, whatever you have to do. You're right. You're right. You're always going to live in that neighborhood. You're never going to make it out. You're never going to make any more money. That's what you wanted to hear, right? That's what you wanted everybody to say. That's what you that's the truth that you wanted. There's so many people that watch self-growth content just to watch it, just to feel like there's a little bit of opportunity to get that good feeling. They don't make any changes, they don't change anything about their life, but they just want to watch it to make themselves feel good. But then at the end of the day, they're always going to convince themselves that they can't change, they can't do this, they can't do that because it's going to take too much time, because they don't have their moms, or they came from a certain neighborhood, or they experienced this as a child. You are right. Your life is always going to stay the same. So what's the point of even watching these videos? What's the point of even... Why do you watch self-growth content? Why do you watch content about people improving their life and giving you tips and tricks on how to improve your life if at the end of the day, all you're going to say is the reasons why you can't? You are right. And if you had that feeling, I do not want to make you feel like I'm judging you. I know sometimes our videos can come across a little judgy. It's just tough love. I want to tell you the truth, and I want to tell you what I would want someone to tell me if I was saying those things. But if you are feeling that way, I'll link it at the end. I created a video talking about how I use chat GPTs to essentially kind of manifest my dream life, but because another problem is, right, we think of all these specific things about ourselves. We'll see a girl talk about how she went through this and went through that and she overcame it. But you're like, she went through this, that, but I went through that, this. I come from this neighborhood. She comes from that neighborhood. She doesn't understand me. In the video, I give you a step-by-step framework. Literally, it's one of my board videos. I'm writing on a whiteboard, and I tell you how to get ChatGPT to give you literal world examples, from movies to celebrities to philosophers, whoever it is, who come from similar experiences to you. And I give you the prompt to put in there. So you can specifically give your specific story, your specific experience, and they'll give you examples of people who've done the things that you specifically want to do. You even put it in there how I frame it. It makes more sense in the video. But I have you figure out your goals, and then I have you figure out the things that you feel like are holding you back. You mush them together, and you had Chat GPT to give you real life examples so that you can at least know that it's possible. Because I think a lot of times people don't know because you haven't watched anybody specifically have your specific situation or specifically come from where you come from. But then also with that, I want you to know you can be a first. Like, who said that you can't? Why can't you be the first person that came out of here and did this? Why can't you be the first person? Because somebody's going to do it eventually. So why do it not be you? And if you're going to sit here and tell yourself, because you ain't telling me, you're telling yourself, the reason why you can't do none of these things is because of X, Y, and Z. You're right. And how does that feel? How does that feel that you're never going to make it out of that neighborhood? How does that feel you're never going to make more money? How does that feel that you're always going to struggle? It probably doesn't feel good. So change your mindset, change your framework, and actually tell yourself, I'm not right. I'm not right. And it's going to take some time, trust me. It's hard convincing yourself of that. But I recommend that video to help you at least, get an idea of your head. And sometimes it's just filling yourself with information, surrounding yourself with people, experiences, to convince yourself there's a way out. There's always a way out. But the problem is we don't want to take the time. We don't want to take the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. I talked about it on the previous video. After Kevin Hart came out with a sitcom show, he came out with a couple movies. He literally went back on tour for like 7 years, going city to city, going literally posting up flyers. He was already a little bit kind of known as Kevin Hart for 7 years. He didn't know what was going to come out of it. Now he's the highest paid comedian in the world. Did he know that that was going to no, but he grinded and he did what he had to do. And going back to what I said before, he did things that put him closer to his goal. And he didn't tell himself because I came out of Philadelphia. He didn't tell himself because I experienced this or I experienced that. If anything, use that as fuel. That's the even more reason why you deserve it. That's the even more reason why you should go after it. Because you know what it feels like not to have it. Because you know what it feels like to cry, to pray, to stress that you had that thing. But if you still convincing yourself that all the things, the bad things that happen to you are the reasons why you don't deserve this thing, I'm so sorry to say this. You're right. And that's all I can say because there's nothing else I can say that can help. So thank you guys for watching my video. I hope that it was helpful for you. This one I was a little dramatic, a little extra, because I really was, tell me if y'all want a series like this. I know I keep saying this after a lot of videos, but I kind of did like this one, like coming up with quotes and explaining them and all that other stuff. I don't know, it's kind of nice. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to check back for new videos every Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, and hit that bell and turn on the post notifications so that you always know when I post new videos, because I'm consistent. If you new here, I want you to know it's every Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. We don't miss around here, okay? So thank y'all and have a great one.